Welcome to the JCPS MTSS training on the Classroom Systems Toolkit with a focus on the application, Positive Peer Reporting. I am Melissa Loxton, MTSS Engagement Resource Teacher with Elementary Zone 3.
And I am Matt Traskis, MTSS Engagement Resource Teacher with the High School Zone. Please take a moment to write down or type in the case-sensitive bit.ly into your web browser. This will allow you access to this slide deck and all the links for future reference.
These are the components of MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. As you can see, MTSS provides multiple levels of support for all learners and aligns resources and support with our district's 6 systems for students and for teachers who deliver and support instruction. MTSS addresses academic, social, emotional, and behavioral development. It focuses on overall school improvement that is sustainable. JCPS has 3 departments within MTSS, as shown on this concept map. MTSS Academics, directed by Donna Lawson, supports schools by ensuring teachers are providing all students with academic supports with a focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions and support. MTSS Behavior Department, directed by Sandra Hensel, supports schools in implementing school-wide behavior systems and frameworks, including Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, or PBIS, and the Behavior Support Systems Model, which is an alignment of PBIS and restorative practices. Our department is MTSS Engagement, directed by Dr. Naomi Brahim. The goal of the MTSS Engagement Department is to increase student achievement by equipping teachers with high-yield pedagogical practices to maximize student engagement. 6 MTSS toolkits were created to provide resources for Tier 1 instructional practices to increase student engagement, reduce student behaviors, and to decrease disproportionality. Here are the 6 MTSS toolkits. By clicking the toolkit image, you will access the MTSS department webpage and each toolkit. To ground our thinking for this toolkit, we will utilize this definition. Teachers use academic and behavioral data to prescribe short and long-term supports for students to meet and exceed standards and strengthen their sense of belonging. This toolkit is broken down into 3 high-yield practices defined by John Hattie as practices teachers can use to move learning forward. All 3 are needed to apply this application. It is important that you familiarize yourself with these practices prior to using the application, Positive Peer Reporting. The first high-yield practice is student-teacher relationships. Any educator is said to have a good student-teacher relationship when the degree of interactions between themselves and the student is positively. This is easily seen in classrooms with positive environments and few problem behaviors. Remember, the bulk of the work is on the teacher to cultivate and maintain this positive relationship. The next high-yield practice is classroom management. In this practice, teachers set roles and expectations, sometimes with the aid of students, and then use positive strategies to have students adhere with the roles. These roles should be reasonable based on grade level, and the outcomes of teacher and student interactions should be positive. Having good classroom management is a major indicator of student success. The third high-yield practice involves teacher expectations of performance. Teachers who believe that their students can succeed have a great impact not only on academic success, but behavioral success as well. In order to have high expectations, teachers should voice these independently of the school-wide expectations, emphasize growth and progress in their expectations, regularly communicate these expectations, give students reasonable challenges, encourage the student that they can be successful, and give regular feedback on student progress. Teacher expectations can be applied to the whole class or, if necessary, to individual students after being modified for their needs. In terms of positive peer reporting, the definition is just that: teaching students to identify and reinforce positive behaviors of their peers. Although this seems easy, it is not automatic and requires support, practice, and encouragement from the teacher. The teacher must be aware of the practice, praise the student for completing the task, and praise the student who made the positive comments. Before we dive into more specifics of positive peer reporting, let's talk about tiered or layered supports. Notice the graphic on the slide showing the various levels of support, starting with Tier 1 for all students being the foundation. Tier 2 supports layered on top and provided in addition to Tier 1 for a small percentage of students, with Tier 3 layered on both of these and provided for an even smaller percentage of students. Our focus for today's training, positive peer reporting, can be used as a Tier 2 or Tier 3 support. Teachers know that they are successful in this application when they witness students reporting their peers for positive behaviors in the classroom. For the purposes of this presentation, we will understand how to effectively implement a positive peer reporting system in the classroom. And you will know you are successful when you have created a list of positive peer reporting sentence starters. Positive peer reporting is a class-wide strategy, and it creates incentives for students to recognize each other by encouraging the recognition of good behaviors. Because of this positive environment, the application allows for more good behaviors. This application, though, is difficult as it takes teacher modeling, praise, incentives, and practice. Here's a video example of positive peer reporting.
Hi, I am Becky McKinney, IU graduate student in the EDS School Psychology program. Today we are demonstrating the positive peer reporting intervention that may be used for socially withdrawn children who are possibly either aggressive, neglected, or isolated. This intervention is supported by research by Morose and Jones in 2002 and Ravthon in 1999. And today, to demonstrate this intervention, I have Eric, Samantha, Becca, and JD. Typically, a teacher would use this intervention approximately 7 to 10 minutes a day in a general classroom setting. Today, our student of the day is actually JD, and this is something that these students are familiar with. I will redirect them and remind them of the steps before we begin the process. Okay, so today's JD is our student of the day. You'll remember that when you compliment somebody, you first look at them, smile at them, describe what they said or what they did that you noticed, and then say, "Good job," at the end of your compliment. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, Eric, can we begin with you, please?
Yeah. Jenny, I noticed that last week when you were at church, the week before that you were very quiet in the pew. Good job. Good.
That was nice. Samantha?
I noticed that at home when Alan had wanted a toy that you had, you gave it to him. Good job.
Thank you.
The other day, JD, I realized that when you asked me to borrow something, you were really respectful and you asked for permission before you grabbed it. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, and you'll notice that every time the students delivered a compliment, we put a cotton ball in the, thank you, JD, good job. We put a cotton ball in our group jar. When the group chart is full, ideally what we would do would be to do a group reward, such as an early recess, a popcorn party, something like that. This is the positive peer reporting intervention. Thank you.
To effectively implement this application, you needed to notice how the teacher modeled the practice beforehand. She then set all the parameters on the student who is the focus student for the day. Last, she helped students see the positives in all behaviors regardless of the original intention. To effectively implement this application, teach all students the good behaviors, how to deliver and receive praise, and all the parts of the system. Possibly connect this to a point system or other incentivized game that shows the teamwork. For more suggestions, look at the MTSS Classroom Systems Toolkit. Once the strategy is implemented, opportunities for praise must be created to engage students. Remember, to prompt students into giving praise. Monitor the system, and through data, determine if the application is effective. If it is, slowly fade the teacher prompting away, allowing the students to take control. If not, be flexible enough to change the application for another form of classroom management. Take a moment to stop and reflect. How could you implement positive peer reporting in your classroom? At this time, it might be useful to write down some sentence starters for positive peer reporting. Do you also believe that your current classroom environment is conducive for this application to be effective? Why or why not? Most students have little experience in delivering praise, let alone how to receive it. It may be necessary to model the praise for students to emulate. Furthermore, it may be important to link this system to another group game, like the behavior game or other group contingency. To create a classroom environment that is culturally responsive, teachers must first be aware of the cultural norms of the students in the classroom. Based on these norms, some behavior interventions are more appropriate than others. Whatever intervention is chosen, the goal is to create a community of learners that feel appreciated for who they are. In classrooms where ECE students are present, teacher collaboration and data collection are key. Be certain to collect data on the specific behavior to track the behavior. Collaborate with the student's teacher of record, or TOR, to help implement appropriate interventions. Follow up with the TOR if the interventions are working or not. Creating a collaborative learning environment requires teachers to have solid classroom management skills. When engaging your students in authentic projects, be certain that you have the appropriate class-wide and individual behavior supports in place. These supports will increase engagement in students and increase the likelihood of a successful project. In reflecting on your own practice, consider the following as possible next steps for dealing with classroom misbehaviors. Ensure that you record the number of times you use positive and negative reinforcing statements to students, and continually increase your use of positive ones. Keep track of students that are doing the most positive reporting and use that to prompt others who are reluctant to participate. Be sure to reference the Classroom Systems Toolkit for more information. On this slide, you will find supports from the MTSS plan and JCPS behavior intervention grid with a link. This grid gives potential interventions for commonly seen classroom misbehaviors. For those wishing to know more about the application of positive peer reporting in your classroom, here are some associated references. Thank you for joining us to learn more about positive peer reporting. For more information on this application and many others, please visit the MTSS website.